Alright guys, starting a kind of a new trend today. Drill of the month, where I'm going to do a drill, we're going to talk about it, and as you can see, the first one we're going to do is a bill drill. Alright, so why do a drill of the month club? I think a lot of people do a lot of drills, but they don't really know what they're looking for out of them, how to gauge them, how to measure them, and so on and so forth. So what I want to do is I want to take this opportunity, having a YouTube channel, also being an instructor, and I want to talk about what I look for in a bill drill, what I consider to be a successful bill drill. We're going to dive into it. So if you guys don't know, a bill drill, a standardized bill drill, is 6 rounds, 7 yards to the A zone, or the highest scoring area, right? Because you could use an IDPA target, you could use whatever to do this, it doesn't really matter. The highest scoring area on a target, right? In this case, we're going to talk about A zone. For me to consider a successful bill drill, all 6 rounds have to be in the maximum highest scoring area, or the A zone, right? So in this case, is what's successful. I actually have a pretty good group going at the speed that I shot this at, which was a 181. So I'm personally pretty happy with that demonstration. That's not every single time by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty like sub 2s on demand. All right. So now that we know what a bill drill is, let's talk about what I look for out of the bill drill. So when I look at a bill drill and I break down my metrics, and it is imperative that you have a shot timer in order to do this, I'm looking at a few things. One is going to be my first shot off the draw, and after that I'm going to look at my splits. Now splits are not nearly as important as the draw time on a bill drill, at least in my opinion, and I'll explain that. So total time on this was a 181. Let's break down the hits. First shot was a .92, so we're sub-second. I'm liking what I'm seeing right there. Then we had a 1.9 split, a 1.8 split, a 1.7, a 1.8, and a 1.7. Very consistent splits from a 1.7 to a 1.9. Now the trick to get a perfect 2-second bill drill or below, I say perfect, but that's relative, right? Everybody's goal is 2 seconds. Take these off because it's pissing me off. There we go. So everybody's goal is 2 seconds or less on a bill drill, right? Well, that comes out to a 1 second first shot and then 2-0 splits for your next 5, right? You have 1 second on the first shot from the draw, 2-0 splits for 5 shots equals a second, gives you 2 seconds, okay? So what a lot of people do is they try to negate a very slow first shot with the split times. And I'm going to tell you why that's never going to work, right? So those are the metrics I look at. Now let's talk about if I were to have a pretty poor first shot and subsequently really fast splits. All right, actually we'll demo it. Let's see how it goes. All right, here we go, guys. So pretty slow first shot, pretty fast splits. Let's see how we do. So, hyper exaggerated, right? Show you guys the hits in real time here so that no one can say that I'm cutting video or doing any weird shit like that. Okay, so right there we have still, I would argue, actually a worse group than before. Still all A zone, but not nearly as tight. Let's talk about what happened there on the timer. Let's talk about the shot timer. All right, so first shot was in a 208, right? A 2-0, a 1-8, a 1-9, a 1-9, and a 1-7. So comparable splits, right? And that total time for that bill drill was a 3:01. So we're looking at roughly a full second over, which makes sense because my draw time was a full second over. So that's a pretty extreme demonstration, but I think I proved my point here is that people are going to work really, really, really hard to get their splits down, right? They're gonna go out and just rattle that gun as fast as humanly possible, and they will eventually get their splits down, no doubt about it, 100% will. The problem is you're not pairing those splits as you develop your grip, right? So I believe good split times come with time as you develop your grip and you feel more comfortable about it. It becomes more repeatable, more familiar, and subsequently your splits are going to get faster because you trust and have confidence in your grip all the more, right? So I held exact same splits, well, not exact, but pretty close, still all A zone hits, and my draw time sucked. I went from a 9.2 to a 2.08, and it shows, right? So here's my point, guys. When we're talking about the bill drill, I believe the most important keystone to a fast bill drill is that initial shot off the draw. Going fast, accessing the gun quickly, getting it up, building the grip up on your way out, and by the time you hit full presentation, being ready to break that trigger, right? It does require some trigger prep on the draw, which some people, I don't know why they demonize. I believe if you already have your muzzle oriented towards target and it's pointed towards the target, why not take that time on your way up as you build the grip to also prep your trigger. All right, now let's talk about some other things regarding the build drill. So what do I think a build drill is really good at testing? One, that initial draw speed, right? Because we can do a build drill at 7, the standardized distance, or we can do it at 15, or 25, or 35, or 10, or whatever you really want, right? But the key to a successful build drill, and in my mind, or a competitive build drill, would be that initial draw out of the holster, fast sight acquisition at whatever conformation level you're acceptable at, depending on the distance and the target difficulty, and breaking that shot with no over confirmation, right? And the key to that is that the parts of accessing the gun and presenting the gun up to our eye line are always fast. So I believe that it reinforces that principle that the draw always should be fast no matter what distance you're at, right? Second, recoil management, right? I believe that if you want to have a fast build drill, you have to have that recoil management in place. I don't think that you can really hope to do a competitive build drill without that. And a build drill shooting that many rounds at speed is going to show you exactly what you're doing wrong, right? If your grip is breaking in the middle of a string of fire, it's going to show you. If you're presenting the gun high, or if you're putting too much input into the gun, it's driving shots extremely low, it's going to tell you. There's a lot of stuff that we can gather off a build drill. How your split times are averaging when you're shooting aggressively, right? With a level 1 confirmation, or even, I would say, sub-level 1 confirmation. How fast you can get away with shooting. 100%. You have your dot and a small spot on the target when you present. How's your focus? How's your vision? Stuff like that. I think that the build drill works a lot of those key elements to establish kind of these things we look for in performance shooting. Can you do a build drill way too much? Let's talk about it. So guys, like anything, and I apologize for the wind if it's cutting out the mic. I don't really have much control over the wind right now. Like anything, you can do a build drill to nauseum, and I think do it way too much to the point where you're not really analyzing, you're not really gaining anything, you're just rattling the trigger hoping for A-zone hits, and that's not beneficial training, right? If you have to hope for something and you didn't have 100% confidence in it, that's a sign, right? It's a sign for that some development still needed. So you can definitely do a build drill way too much. What I encourage you guys to do is go out, do an initial build drill, right? Like do one at a comfortable pace, guaranteeing all A-zone hits, right? You come out and it's still a fast draw, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever that happens to sound like or look like for you. I really don't care. Then I would do a second build drill and record those metrics, like record your first shot, record your splits, all that stuff. Then I would do another build drill at an aggressive pace for yourself and see what that looks like, and see where the hits are in relation to your first hits, what the times look like. Maybe it went better than you thought. Maybe you are limiting yourself in terms of what you are capable of, right? And then work from there. If you see that your first shot to draw at 7 yards is a 1.3, maybe there's some work to be done in dry fire with drawing, presenting the gun, and acquiring that dot quickly. Just my thoughts on that, guys. So, all right, let's wrap this up. All right, guys, so I think we're going to be cutting the camera battery almost perfectly here. Guys, this is just a fun thing that I want to do to get people out to start experimenting. I'm big on data collection and data tracking. The goal is to always kind of like keep trying to one-up yourself, up the ante, stuff like that. And you need to be able to track your metrics in order to do that. If you're not tracking your metrics, how do you know if you're actually getting better, or if you're just like maybe getting better or more comfortable within a certain pace, or a certain range of pace, I should say, and you're not actually pushing the speed faster than what, you know, obviously the data is showing you're capable of. If your first shot to draw at 7 yards is a 1.3, and then your first shot to draw at 10 or 12 or 15 yards is a 1.35, either you can go way faster at those closer distances, or you are damn near outrunning your headlights at 15, 10, 12, whatever it might be, right? Something to look at, right? Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to make this a once-a-month thing, along with one firearm review a month. Don't forget, we are doing the performance on demand firearms reviews. The next one coming out, I'm actually pretty excited about. I think it's going to be super interesting. and probably gonna piss a lot of people off, but hey, that's what we do at RAS Group, right? You guys stay safe, stay trained, stay rad. I'll be back with the next one.